Hi, welcome to our latest webinar. Today we're traveling from England to Scotland. We've got our second guest on from Partick, Thistle, who works with Scotty Allison. Tremendous guy. He spends a bit of time with us in the States as well, a couple of years, stays at my house, good friend. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate you giving up your time and spending an hour with us talking about your subject today. So I'll just remind people on the webinar there, if on your right hand side you should see a little panel there. By all means, you can start asking questions and type them away, and we'll see if we can come to those questions as we go through the presentation. So Craig, well, let's get started. Let's give people an intro, just so they know who you are, you know, where you come from, how you got into this, and pretty much up to now, and then we'll get into the subject matter.
Yeah, well, I'm from Glasgow in Scotland. I've been coaching since 2007. I started when I was 15 years old in my local high school. I was an older student, and I knew early on that I probably wasn't going to be a professional football player, and that I wanted to get into coaching. And I probably was one of those kids that were inspired by Football Manager and Championship Manager, and I thought I like the sound of that, and the teams I was involved with as well. There was like a semi-pro team I was involved. I always liked the managers there, and I liked the idea of organising a team and whatnot. So yeah, I started my high school with a younger school team with one of the teachers, and just continued from there. And just before I left school, we had a link with a college, the City of Glasgow College, and I was able to do a couple of early touchy badges, my 1.1 and my 1.2, then progressed to college and spent 3 years there, also helping out with a local football team as well with one of my mates. It was a boys club, and then just keep getting more experience and building upon my qualifications. And then luckily I went to America back in 2013 with the Challenger Sports to do summer camps. And when I came back, I was very, very fortunate enough to join Partick Thistle as a part-time coach on 2 nights a week. And Jerry Britton and Scott Allison were the guys that run it, and it became Thistle Wear. I've got the t-shirt on today.
Looking good.
Yeah, it was one of yours.
It sure is.
The correct spelling as well, I may add. So I started there, and within a couple of years, I was more or less full time. I was building upon my badges as well. Got my UEFA B license, which is very, very big, and for our criteria in Scotland as well, you've got to be coaching at a certain level. You've got to have that, and just learning from all different people and coaching nearly every single day in different areas, whether it be 3-year-olds doing mini kicker sessions in a small gym hall in a school, to working with 18-year-olds on a quarter of an Astro pitch with the boys club that I took at the time, and then working with our guys at Partick Thistle. So you're working at all different levels, and you're just getting as many hours and experience as you can, learning from different people. As I say, when you're doing your badges through the governing body, there's so many different people from different clubs. Some ex-pros are there as well, and you're learning from people who have been in the game, ex-managers as well. And yeah, you're just building your knowledge, and I'm very fortunate in the position I am now. I'm full-time at Partick Thistle. I get to work with various age groups. I get to work with great people. We're starting to build successful teams, even though that's not our main purpose. It's about individual player development and getting them through to our first team. And in the last couple of years, we've managed to do that. Although our first team maybe not be doing great at the moment, but we have brought through several good players that have made moves to England. One's at Stoke City and one's at Norwich City, and hopefully we can keep on that and keep going. And that's my personal aim as well, to keep developing as many young talent as we can to make our national game better and make our clubs better.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good look at the journey. So what we're going to talk about today is going to be really the coaching, and you know, we talked a little bit off camera before we came on about something that I feel is missing a little bit out here, and that's the apprenticeship and the time that's spent working at your trade. I think in any other trade, you have to do trade school, you do an apprenticeship, and I think in the soccer, sometimes here in America, although there's licensing there, I think people jump into the deep end too quickly, and they haven't really spent time and energy on the journey of how to get there. So where do you want to start us here, Craig, on the coaching ladder? If you say, maybe we start from the beginning, maybe let's go right down to the beginning. If you were going to be a brand new coach coming in.
Yeah, well, especially in Scotland, the financial side in football isn't great, and it's not, you don't earn a lot of money doing football in Scotland unless you're working at the top level. So a lot of the time you're spend volunteering. When I started coaching, it was volunteering to help out with my school team, and then it was one of my friends' teams, Mair Hill Juniors we were called at the time, from my early age, and I'm working 2 nights a week with them, voluntary, getting experience. But if you're wanting to start off, you've got to kind of get your 1.1 as it is over here with the children and the children's pathway and the youth pathway. I'll go into that later on. And you basically need to try and accumulate as many hours as you can on the field, because that's how you get your knowledge. Everyone has this idea in their head, oh, this is how I'd want to play football, this is what I know. But your knowledge is only so much. You need to take in ideas, and you only develop your knowledge of the game by doing sessions, by trying to work away and get better. But over here, you would need to start by volunteering your time straight away. You don't just get your B license or your A license straight away and you're into the deep end, as you say, and you're working with a pro team. You've got to kind of earn your hours and obviously get your qualifications as well, but you've got to have experience with working with young kids. There's maybe too many.
I can imagine that's a bit of, I mean, you were young when you were doing it, just the same as I was when I first started, probably about the same, 16, 17 years old. It's hard because you've got to pay bills in most cases, unless you're living at home. Even then, you've got to pay bills because you've got to drive to these areas, and you're trying to put as many hours in voluntarily to try and get your experience in and the hours in. How did you find balancing that when you were younger?
Well, to begin with, I was quite fortunate. I was at college, and you get in Scotland, you get a bursary. When I was at college, and I was doing it was called a HND. It was a higher national diploma for coaching within sport, doing that, and I was able to get my bursary, and I was doing my voluntary hours with the governing body as well, and I was doing my boys club as well, and then I started doing a part-time gig with a company called First Touch, working with young kids, and that was paid. That was just some expenses. But when I first started at Partick, it was expenses as well. But then I worked my way through, and by doing a wee bit extra, not for more money, because you could do less and do more, but you'd get the same amount. But by doing that wee bit extra, I was getting more opportunities from Jerry and Scott, and I was able to do schoolwork. And at the time, I didn't drive, and some of the schools from where I lived was maybe 2 bus journeys and a train away. So I would have a bag of footballs, get the train first thing, 9 o'clock start, maybe get the train at 7:30 to go into the city centre, to then get another train to a station just out the north of the city, and then get a bus that takes you around the corner to get there for a 9 o'clock start for a 1 hour session, where you're only earning £10 an hour, $10 an hour. And then I'd need to make a journey to maybe the other side of the city to do more. And then even try to get to training at night as well, where we train at Partick Thistle. It wasn't local to me at the time. So again, it was another 2 trains and a walk, maybe 10-15 minute walk to the training ground through fields and dark paths when it was late at night. So you've got to make those sacrifices, and it's one thing me and other coaches say. I don't think many coaches would do that anymore. They would probably go, oh, is that what I need to do? And then all the other things with the child well-being stuff, that a couple of years ago it was there, but it wasn't as big as what it is at the moment. So I think a lot of coaches would be put off by all the kind of things, but definitely you need to volunteer now. You need to put the hours in. You need to definitely put the hours in.
Well, I guess not too much changed. I think I got 10 quid an hour when I was down and working in Plymouth and trying to grab as many hours as I could to try and get the coaching up, right, and also pay for the petrol money. So nothing's changed too much there. So obviously getting those early hours in and getting all that volunteer, what's the payoff of doing the cost of doing some of those basic footballing coaching licenses versus the kind of gas money and train money and everything else you're really earning to cover it? So the trade-off, what was the trade-off? How did you see this was going to go, or the long-term plan, knowing that you weren't going to get paid too much and you're trying to search for hours and you still have to pay to get onto the coaching licenses?
Well, I always knew earlier on this is something I wanted to do, and And I knew that the more the kind of what you put into it, you get out of it. That's always some of the sayings you kind of live by. And to begin with, you're thinking, like, is this really worth it? That should I just get a 9 to 5 job and maybe do this part time? But then I knew I wouldn't be happy at that. And to begin, when I did start at Partick, I was working as a salesman. I was one of those cold callers trying to sell solar panels. Now, for those who don't really know the weather in Scotland, it's sunny for about 3 days a year. Although we've been lucky for the last 3 weeks, the sun's been splitting the skies and everyone's been off. So that's probably one of the positives of being in lockdown at the moment. But when I lost my job through that, and then I was able to pick up more hours at Thistle, but that's another story. But the trade-off for me was, no, this is what I want to achieve. I want to be a coach. I want to work full time if I can. I want to develop young players, and at that time I was working with, as I said, kids from as young as 3 to 18. All different aspects to it, but like for 3-year-olds, you're introducing them the first steps of kicking a football and the love of the game and the love and running about and the smiles on their faces, and you're getting that from them and it's making you happy. And you're working with maybe 12, 13, 14-year-olds who are maybe making that transition from junior school to high school, and they're developing their skills, becoming young men, and they're progressing. And then maybe the 18-year-olds, at the level I was working at the time, it was more you were competing for trophies and winning leagues, while they were leaving school, and so that you get that sense of you're able to win something as well and achieve something as a team. But when you look at the academy side of it, it's someone at 16, 17 when they're making their debut at a professional level, then straight away you're going, I've played a small percentage of helping that young man get through the system and playing on a professional level, and it's all down to him after that. So the trade-off for bills and everything, I've been quite lucky that the work I've put in it's been rewarded financially and with help through with getting my coaching licenses as well. I'll be honest, I've been helped at times because through my hard work, and been put on certain courses because the club believed in me.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to have there. I think anybody's got belief in you, and for those that persevere as well. I mean, I got lucky when I was younger, taking the licenses. It's definitely a bit of luck with it, but also the perseverance, knowing what there is in the long term. So, did you want to go through the Scottish pathway?
Yeah, well, in Scotland, we've it's all categorised into different areas, and if whoever's listening and you're wanting more information, the website is www.scottishfa.co.uk, and you can look at the categories yourself and into it. But we've got like our main youth adult pathway, we've got a children's pathway, we've got a goalkeeping pathway, we've got a futsal pathway, and what's called a specialist pathway. Now, children and youth, everyone will think, oh, it's the kind of same thing, but in Scotland, especially with the academy level, it's kind of broken down into 3 sections. It's a junior academy, which is young children of U11 and U12, a youth intermediate academy, which runs from U13 to around U15, 16, and then you're making a transition to the professional phase, which is maybe U18 upwards into the apprenticeship and under kind of 20s and reserve group. So in the children's pathway, if you want to work with an academy at a good level, you've got to have completed the whole children's pathway, which is called an advanced children's license. So you work from a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, when it's called a children's award, and an advanced children's license. I'm currently doing my advanced children's license at the moment, and that's based around the 7v7, 8v8, 9v9 game. And if you want to work with a club, you've got to meet certain criteria and you've got to have that qualification. With the main youth adult pathway, it's similar to begin with the children's one, from 1.1 to 1.3. Then we do what's called a C license, which is like a preparation to allow you to do your UEFA B, and then on to a youth license and a UEFA A license, or elite license, whatever you want to call it. So there's all those stepping stones there to allow you to progress, and whatever area you're working with, whether it be very, very young kids at a very low level, it could be from your 1.1s onwards, but if you want to progress into an academy or semi-pro or even the professional game, you've got to have your UEFA B, A, and elite basically on criteria. Regardless of what coaching experience you have or how many hours you've put down or your knowledge, you've got to pass those qualifications before you can work in those areas. We've also have a goalkeeping pathway, which has been developed over the years, which is very good. I've got a couple of the badges there. Futsal, do you do futsal over in the States?
Yeah, futsal and indoor here in, when I first came over, indoor was the big thing, which was using old ice rinks, if you like, ice rinks with turf on it. But now futsal has started picking up for sure. We got a specific club up north, that North Dallas, that does nothing but futsal. So yeah, it's definitely picking up.
So that's something that's only been developing the last couple of years, because the futsal's kind of really grown everywhere, especially in Scotland. It's gotten bigger. Ourselves, we're quite big in the futsal, and we have some of our junior academy teams. We play in a wee mini league with Celtic, Rangers, and Hamilton Academical. So that futsal kind of pathway is growing for anyone who's interested in that. And then we have a specialist pathway, so that includes scouting, video analysis, but also looks at para football players and ones with kids with learning difficulties, and teams with all sorts of different needs as well. So there's that kind of qualification if you're wanting to work in that side of the game. And also we've got our child wellbeing, and make sure we're up to scratch, and we've got the mental health wellbeing course as well. But yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot to take in. It would cost an arm and a leg to get them all done. I can assure you, need to be loaded for that, or you win the lottery. But if you're wanting to work at certain levels, you've got to have these certain qualifications. That's for sure.
And I think with a lot of countries, I mean, I read an article, gosh, it might have been a month or two ago now, about the cost of licenses versus the cost of what you get paid once you become that level coach. So I think part and parcel of being a coach, you got to love what you do, because I'm not sure that in the short term, the amount you pay for a licensing to allow you to get onto a certain, I mean, if you've got an ambition of playing or coaching in the professional game, so we had Ian Personal on a couple of, last week or so, he went and done his UEFA Pro badge. He went that route. He had to do a lot of sacrifice because, the areas he was going and working, you weren't getting paid, but you weren't getting the kind of money that he was outlaying, and the travel and the amount of time you had to give up to do his A license, his pro license, and stuff like that. So, you really must have to love the job to be able to sustain it. Have you seen a lot of people drop out of the coaching environment just because of that?
Yeah, sometimes there's ones that maybe who want to progress, but they can't because they can't afford it. Because I'll be honest, some of the pricings over here, it could be a month's wage just to pay for a course. And on top of that, you've got your mortgages, your car, your food, all that kind of stuff. If you get a pet, you've got to look after them as well. So some of that's the higher up courses right enough. That's when it starts becoming that UEFA B, UEFA A, and in Scotland it's the advanced children's license. It's quite expensive. Below that, you're talking maybe a three-figure sum, and just in a couple of hundreds. And then below that, you're maybe looking at just a double-figure sum, just under £100. Some a lot cheaper than that. But depending on what you're doing at that time as a coach, I mean, there'll be maybe different coaches at boys' clubs and grassroots clubs, should I say. They're maybe able to apply for some sort of discount because they're a partner. We've got different schemes going on over here where the governing bodies try and help certain clubs, and they give them certain awards, like a legacy award, a community award, because they've got a certain amount of criteria. So they're maybe able to get them onto more coach education courses. The name went out of my head completely, and I did have it written down somewhere, so I apologise for that. But it is good because more coaches are getting involved, and more coaches are maybe progressing, but only to maybe a certain level. And I can only be honest with myself that if I was to just pay for my own courses, I'd probably only get to a certain level as well. I've been very, very lucky that with what I'm doing at the club and the hours I've been putting in, and they know that I'm going to be there for a long time, and I'm going to continue to work my damn hardest, that I've been helped in that side of things as well. So they do take a chance on you, but they do believe in you as well, which has been very, very good for me. But yeah, they can be expensive, but on the flip side of that, once you pass it, there's no greater feeling. You've got, oh, I've got it. I've spent a year of my life not just travelling to, well, for us it's maybe an hour away in Largs or Edinburgh, to go and take part for 9 days solid, running into the grass, doing all everyone's sessions, then doing your own session, having feedback, doing different seminars, listening to different people, doing assignments as well. I mean, for the children's license, I'll touch about it later on, that it's not just what we do in the pitch, it's you've got to be there, you've got to be engaging, but it's the home assignments we've got to do as well. We've all had different tasks to kind of complete and submit by certain dates. So it's just been unfortunate with the lockdown happening. I was due to finish that course at the end of March, and I probably would have known by now if I'd passed or if I needed to resit something. I was doing my final coaching exam on the field, but hopefully I get to do that later on in the year. But once you've got it, there's no greater feeling, and then you can put into practice what you've been learning, and then hopefully that'll progress you as a coach, and then ultimately the more knowledge you have and the more experience you're able to progress your players.
Absolutely. Well, hey, so there's a couple of things that was coming up in my mind as we were talking there. So the first one, let's see if we can be as realistic to those people that would like to take a coaching and go into the professional game. You're a part of Thistle. I mean, that's a bit. It's a long historical club. If anybody's watched the English game, the Netflix show, that obviously a couple of boys there came from the Partick club, original Partick club. How many full-time coaches, not part-timers, not that we're discounting them because they've got to get another job to be able to pay the bills, etc. But full-time, how many realistically are in an academy setting full-time?
Over across Scotland?
Well, let's just go Partick Thistle, and then we can kind of, because we're not in other clubs right now, so we can probably guess with other clubs. Rangers and Celtic probably being the bigger ones with more money. But let's go with, I mean, outside the top two boys, maybe Aberdeen. The rest are pretty much the same, right?
I would say, again, it probably split into kind of three different kind of categories. You'd have your top, as you say, the top two with the amount of full-time staff they have, and that's double figures. That's not a joke. There's double figures working at staff there. You've obviously seen that with Rangers yourself, Ant. Other clubs, depending on what they do as well, and maybe funding they're able to tap into, and the things they do within their club and what their club gives them, it can certainly range from maybe five full-time members up the way. For certain criteria, you've got to have a certain amount of full-time staff, and I think the minimum is around about 4 or 5. But at Partick Thistle at the moment, we have, just for our academy alone, we have 5 full-time members of staff. We've got Scott Allison, who's the academy director. We have Joe Malcolmson, who I think a lot of you will know. He's what's classed as our head of youth phase, and he's full-time. We have Ryan McCann, who's our head of professional phase, so he looks after the reserves, the apprentices, and the under-18s. We have someone called Ross Maitland, who's our head of sports science and medicine. He's responsible for making sure all the medical cover is at the games and training. Everyone reports back to him. If anybody's injured, they can get referred to a clinic at the stadium and be seen by one of our head physios. And he also looks at the sports science aspect in terms of the gym programs the kids will do, the prehab, the rehab stuff as well. So there's a lot of it goes into that. And then there's myself, which I do various roles within the club. I kind of, over the course of the day, I could work all over the city in terms of, I work with school kids, I work with the academy kids, and we do kind of small soccer schools as well. So yeah, my role is kind of based on administration as well. I need to do a lot of admin work for the academy, and we all chip in, and look after all the kind of the kit and equipment. So that's kind of down to my role as well. I'm basically the kit man / coach at times.
So that's important for these people, or for people that are listening, and you have an interest in going to the professional game. Out of those 5, one's a sports scientist. Do they have to have licenses as well as sports scientists?
Yeah, it's encouraged that they have some sort of footballing background. With Ross, he was at university doing his sports therapy, sports science degree, but he was also involved with the club as one of the sports therapists part time at the time. And over the course of the year, this was about 7 years ago, and over the course he's he's worked at other clubs as well. He was working with Clyde as their full-time physio. So that's a professional club in the lower leagues. He was working there, and he was doing his own kind of sports therapy stuff. And then he became the head of sports science and medicine a couple of years ago. He also has a footballing background. He's done some of his badges. He's not required to do any UEFA accredited courses, but he's got to have some sort of footballing background, because he'll take some of the kids that need to do a rehab, and
He used to know what to
he can do basic football drills, but he's able to implement his rehab program, the kids rehab program, and the sports science element to it as well. So he'll do the warm ups for the under 18s. He'll make sure at half time they're all doing specific warm ups, and it's not all that kind of ladders and cone work and running. There's football tactical elements to that as well. So it's a right team effort that we have to come up with all the proper coaching plans in place, and he's vital to that.
So for those that are listening, of course, we're trying to get an idea here on the Scottish game. So it's not the English, and I mean the Welsh is even smaller, but there's other areas around Europe that are different. So really, you look at your club, you've got one sports scientist that probably have got a lower end licensing, but then there's 4 other people, and even then you've got Scotty's having to manage a lot more. So within that, the coaches, if you're looking to go into the coaching world, you've got to understand, apart from Celtic and Rangers, and probably they've got the community staff, which is all part-timers, and you've got your community staff, which is probably part-timers. The full-time staff, if you're trying to make a living out of coaching soccer, coaching football, man, it could be a case of who you know and how much you want to put in at the lower end when you're doing a volunteering, just like you had told, you first said you had to do a lot of volunteering, put your hand up to do a lot more extra work to get the hours in, and it's paid off by getting that place as a full-time. And really, I think the reason why I'm in the States is because those full-time positions, as the game was changing in England, it was getting few and far between because all the influx of European players, everybody else was dropping into the backroom staff. So I think people need to know how difficult it is as well to get in, even though you just do your licenses, right? Maybe that's another knock on where people are dropping out.
Yeah, well, that's more the kind of maybe the professional side of the game as well. But there is a lot of like local authorities out here who have maybe full-time coaches, but they just work in schools or sports centres, so they can class that as their full-time job. But they're also able to work with academies at night, so they probably get the best of both worlds, that they have their full-time job that's involved in maybe coaching in sports centres or in schools, but they're also able to work with academy teams at night as well. With there being only few and far full-time jobs within the kind of academy side of the game or the professional side of the game, I mean, as I said, you've got to put the work in, and you've got to be good at what you do as well. And I'm not saying I'm the best coach in the world or by any means feat, but I'd like to think I'm good at certain things, and that's why I've been given a full-time opportunity as well. As I said, there are opportunities, and they're very, very rare, and I'm very, very fortunate. But there is a lot of good guys out there who just enjoy doing part-time, because they get to do their work 9 to 5. They come and do their coaching maybe 2 nights a week and a game at the weekend, and that's enough for them. There is a lot of people who do inspire to obviously work full-time in football, and I think a lot of people think, oh, it must be great, full-time football, it's brilliant, but you don't see all the stuff behind the scenes as well, like every other job. It has its pros and cons to it as well, and I love what I do, but it can be hard work. But for others, they're more than happy to do their couple of nights a week and their game at the weekend, and again just play that small part in a young kid's development. But yeah, it has been challenging at times, but as I said, I've been very fortunate enough, and I've probably just been in the right places in the right times. And when I first started out, I was getting opportunities to maybe go, right, need another extra coach to come away to Aberdeen for one of the older age groups, and I'm like, oh right, I'll go and help. Or listen, we need a goalkeeping coach to come to a tournament in Ireland. Can you help out? Aye, I'll come over. Aye, that's just going to another place. It was a competitive tournament, and that was working with some of the apprentices at the time as well. So that was again another string to the bow and another experience. So again, it's just probably been the right moments at the right time for myself, and so far they've all worked out.
Well, that's good for you. So doing as you're going through your licensing, I know what it was like when I was going through mine, but being able to go through those licenses, the people that are on those same courses, how do you feel it's important just by doing licenses, regardless of what license it is, the people that are around you during that period of time? What do you feel is important about that?
Well, straight away you're in mixed in with a group of people that are all wanting to try and achieve the same aim. They're looking to pass that course, and you can have a lot of members in the group, or you can have a small number in the group as well. In the current badge I'm doing just now, there's 32 participants in it, from all over the country. It's fortunate enough for me, it's been based in Glasgow and only 10 minutes away from my house where the pitches are and where the sports centre is. But there's people travelling 3.5 hours to come to these things, and they've been having to stay in Glasgow for 4 days just to try and complete this course. So there's that kind of camaraderie straight away, that everyone helps each other to pass when we take part in each other's sessions, and we give feedback as well. That's something that's big. It's all good coming up with your coaching sessions, and it might look good on paper, and sometimes it works or sometimes it doesn't work when you do it on the pitch with sometimes we'll get young players to take part, or we get the coaches to take part. So you get to bounce about ideas, and some will go, no, I really like that. Or other times, well, could you maybe tried this or tried that? And you think about it. So everyone's there to help each other. But ultimately, when you look at to the other side as well, everyone's there to get that badge either for one reason or another. They're not in it to get a full-time job in the children's game. They're there for maybe their own personal development, which we're all there for, to be fair. But for others, they need it for the criteria that the clubs need to meet as well. That's certainly things for a lot of the clubs, that we need to meet criteria, and we need to have coaches at a certain level of qualification. So yeah, you're all in it for different reasons, but ultimately there's a lot of good people there that help you out, and the staff that kind of work with you as well, the tutors and the mentors there, they're really good as well. At the end of the day, they want you to pass, and I've been fortunate enough that so far myself that I've had a lot of good feedback. But when it's not went well, the guys have been really open and honest, and I've took that on board, and I've been able to change a certain amount of things that's helped me.
That's good. So also, so something I would bring up when I was doing mine, the network. You're every time you're doing a license, you're creating a network, and you're picking up on other people. Especially, I had to redo all the US licenses over here, so doing those, you pick up and you end up building that network, and I think that's also a big thing, because you never know who works where, especially as you get into the higher licenses. I'd imagine when you get to higher licenses, you've got a lot more ex-pros that have played the game, that are looking to go into the coaching game. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, no, definitely networking is crucial, because it's quite interesting that a lot of the guys that are on the course, I've maybe met them at the side of a pitch playing against them. There's a few guys from Dundee United, St Mirren, Ross County, Inverness, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. They're all different people from different areas that are on the course, and you're thinking, oh, I recognise him. What's his name again? And then you get to know them. I mean, sometimes you meet a coach from another club, and you're there for a couple of hours, and your opinions sometimes formed of that person just on your experience for a couple of hours in those matches, and you think, he's a bit of I don't like him. What's he shouting about? What's he on about today? And then you actually get to know the person, and who knows, I might end up moving to Dundee one day, and I'll need to say to the guy, Liam, is there anything happening at Dundee United? Any coaching position? So again, that's God forbid, I don't want to move to Dundee. Glasgow's fine for me, but you never know where life takes you, and you want to build as many relationships. And as you say, the ex-pros as well, there is ex-pros that come out of the game and they start doing the licenses. It's good to kind of get their knowledge of the game as well, and I've been fortunate enough in some of the courses I've done that there's been very good ex-pros on them, and they've been very, I think a lot of people to begin with go, that's a player. There's a player who's very good in England and Scotland, Mark De Vries. I don't know if you remember him, man. A big striker. He played for Leicester, and he played for Hearts over here as well. A big unit of a guy. Scored important goals. He played. I think he played for Feyenoord as well. Scored important goals in important matches. And we're maybe doing a certain theme, which is striker movement. And the coach is maybe saying, right, I want you to do this, Mark. I want you to do that. And maybe later on, Mark will go, well, when I played, I was able to move there because I saw the defender and where the ball was coming. And you're taking wee bits and bobs from those top players as well. So it's good that there's always a mixture on these courses. It's not just right. The ex-pros are there. Let's look after the ex-pros, and the novice coaches are wee Jimmy for the street. He's over there. Everyone's all kind of mixed in, and it's all different experiences.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed from ex-coaches as well is they want to learn from you, because they've just played. They've just been used to someone telling them, go there, you cross the ball, you pass it there. They've just been used to someone giving them instruction rather than them giving the instructions. Some of the ex-players take to the coaching like a duck off a water's back, but others maybe struggle to begin with because they've never been put in that situation and they've never gained that experience. So you actually find that myself, I've maybe got more coaching knowledge than that ex-player, but he'll have the playing knowledge and the actual intricacies, and you can bounce off each other. So that's when you maybe look at the top level. Sometimes management teams and coaching teams are a bit of mix of ex-pros and coaches. You look at Mourinho. Mourinho was never a top ex-player, but in his coaching staff we have a good mixture of ex-players in it, or coaches that have maybe came through the system and done very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, doing the licenses, I've been in the game a long time now as a coach, and I sometimes feel that you've done your license, it's behind you, 20 years rolls on, and you've not done anything else. And I think that can be as detrimental to a coach as much as not doing a license at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to a little bit about what can we be doing to make sure that we stay relevant, we stay modern, we know the coaching, you know, modern coaching techniques, changes in the game. What type of things do you suggest, or can you talk about, because I know you've been doing some stuff lately, that will help you in that knowledge and to stay fresh? Not just that you've gone to your B license and, man, that was done 18 years ago and I've done nothing since.
Yeah, well, in Scotland, you've got especially when you do UEFA accredited courses, you've got to complete a certain amount of CPD hours per year. It can vary from different aspects from certain individuals. If you're full time at a football club, you've maybe got to complete 35 hours a year of CPD relevant to your license. You couldn't maybe go to somewhere that's on a lower grade than that license. You've got to either go something that's equivalent, attend a CPD event that's equivalent to that license or above, to then say, right, I've gained a certain amount of knowledge from this, and you've got to submit it to the governing body and they approve it as well. So you've got to complete a certain amount of hours as well. If you are ambitious and you're able to do it, then to progress to the next step is part of your CPD as well. It's all good having a B license and go, I've got my B license. Well, great. Yeah, you've got to be working at that level to keep earning it, but also you've got to look to improve as well. It's the same with myself at the children's game. I've been working on 7-a-side football for many, many years, and I can say, we play this way or we play that way, but there's always different trends coming through. I mean, you look at 5-6 years ago, everyone's talking about tiki-taka. Barcelona, it's all the short, sharp movements. That was a current trend, and a lot of that's progressed through. But then you look at the last couple of years, that probably the main trend that's been there is counter-attacks or pressing. You look at Liverpool at the moment, that's probably one of the current trend teams that a lot of coaches out there would probably aspire to look at in terms of how Liverpool play, how they press, or how devastating they are in the counter-attack as well. And that's something what they've done on the children's license. Again, I'll talk about it more often. They've changed it this kind of time around, because they found a lot of the content they were doing maybe just not outdated, but there's more trends in the game now that are probably better for the young kids. Instead of doing drills, or it's a shooting drill or a passing drill, it's a theme. Well, let's work on counter-attack. It's more game-related aspects. So that's something I've noticed in Scotland as well, that the training sessions became from, rather than being a box drill, the old Ajax box passing drill, it's right, how do you transfer that into a possession exercise with the same purpose, but you're still working on the technique, but it's in game-related situations. So you've got to continuously try and gain ideas and progress. You can't just stay still. That's never a great idea for a coach. If you just stay in the same place and you go, right, that's me done. I mean, I've been very fortunate over the last couple of years. I've visited Benfica's academy through Partick. I was able to spend a week there Again, what's refreshing about that is they do similar stuff to what we do in terms of maybe training organisation, in terms of training structure, but it's maybe how they deliver it. And it's probably one of the most top elite academies and clubs in the world at the moment in terms of producing players. The amount of money they have received for their young talent over the last 5-6 years is incredible. You're talking hundreds of millions of pounds for top players. So yeah, I'll be able to do that. And a couple of years back before that, I was able to visit Italy and see that side of the game as well. We were over there mostly to coach and learn, but we had a lot of different people come in from different clubs, from Bologna, Folly FC, a lot of local clubs mostly in Italy as well, but with the same principles and how they play the game. And we were able to visit the Covaceno, which is the Italian training base, which was what an experience that was. And we were able to see like an Italian under-15 national side team play. Interestingly enough, the game finished 0-0, and it was the best defensive performance both teams I've ever seen in my life. They just cancelled each other out. But you look at all the different trends in different countries, you find in Portugal that we played some local Portuguese sides when we were over in Benfica as part of that kind of training camp. And the style, the trends that they had, where the first half they would maybe sit off you and not press, and I let you play and have the ball, and we looked like, oh, we're a good team against these. We're passing this team off the park. The second half, they all come at you. So the first half, they're maybe looking at see what shape are you playing, right? Who they're trying to maybe pick out, where's their weakness, who has the ball, who's been giving it away the most. And then the second half, they'll come at you and press. And then you're taking it back because you're thinking, right, second half here, we'll keep doing what you're doing. Maybe look to play a few more forward passes, but the picking up different trends and different styles is good for a coach, because that's what makes you learn.
Yeah, that's some good stuff there. So, so doing your CPDs, what are you on right now? Are you doing anything on now apart from were you doing one of your youth modules you were saying? But
yeah, I'm as I say, I'm doing my what's called Advanced Children's License. And recently we done a CPD with a guy called Alistair McCaw. I don't know if you saw that through our social media channels, Anthony, but he came over. He's world renowned and he's been all over the place, and he's worked with some really top people in different sports, not just necessarily football. And he's delivered seminars, and he's got lots of books out there as well. So he was able to come to Firhill one evening and speak to all of our coaches, not just coaches, but the medical staff as well, and the scouting staff, and we were all there together. And he was talking about kind of relationships and different key areas, and your own looking after yourself as well, and your own confidence aspects, and your own outlets on life sort of thing. So yeah, as I said, doing the children's license just now, hopefully get through that soon. But I'll be looking, once we start back up, there'll be more CPD events that are hosted through the national body, but also internal from our club as well. Scott is very good every so often at him and Joe are putting on some sort of event for us, on the pitch and off the pitch. On the pitch to maybe discuss, right, this is an area we want to see our teams play, whether it's counter-attacking, press and whatever. And we're able to get together as a coaching staff, look at the training structure, right, that's something he wants implemented over the course of the season, and we'll work away at that. So every so often, you're not just there doing your sessions week in, week out, and games at the weekend. That happens most of the time, but we're very lucky enough to have guys there, and the governing body are very lucky enough to put things on for us to go and complete our hours.
Well, I think that's a dedication by the governing body and by your club that we want to get better. I mean, they're not resting on the laurels to have coaches just staying the same. They're constantly asking questions of them, so that's good. Now for that CPD, I'm still waiting for some of that information I was asking you about when I texted you. You never did send that to me.
What one was that again?
The last CPD you did. Remember I texted you?
Oh yeah, Alistair McCoy. Yeah. Also,
it's all good, man.
Apologies.
So
Apologies.
That's all good. So it's been a real interesting journey here, and I think really this particular webinar with you, Craig, has given an enlightenment to people and youngsters that would like to take this as a profession. Now, of course, we're looking in the Scottish part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, if there's going to be some Scots or some English that are watching this. But what would you give as to a budding youngster? What would you give? Because I think sometimes the fear of taking exams, the fear of going to courses, can also just cause anxiety to people. But what would you say if you want to do it and you want to have a crack at as a career in the coaching world, what would you give to that person? What kind of supporting message would you give to them?
If it's
Don't do
something if it's something, don't do it,
You're gonna pay
because you end up taking my job probably. Better than me, but not straight away. If you're passionate about, especially football, which we are talking about just now, if you're passionate about it and you want to get involved in, then do it. And yeah, there can be some stumbling blocks there. There can be barriers put in your way. There could be other things to think about rather than just coaching. I mean, we've been speaking to some of our staff over the last couple of weeks, especially with lockdown and the different things we are trying to do, but the things that we're missing about being about other things we're not missing. I mean, there is a lot of hard things out there, and especially with it, as I said, the well-being aspects of our game. We've got to make sure that's bang on. You've got to be in it for the right reasons. But if you're starting off, I would definitely recommend look to try and get into the coaching pathway as quick as you can. Get your face known by the tutors, because a lot of these tutors cover a lot of the courses and they remember you, and that's something that I've been quite lucky as well, that a lot of the tutors seem to remember me, because I engage quite a lot. I don't like standing at the side doing nothing. I like to take part, and if I'm taking notes, I'll ask a question. I don't like just going to these things and standing still and take it in. I've been a few of these CPD events as well, where you're there and people just stand there for the sake of it and go, rubbish for it.
Just do the time.
Yeah, just do the time. So you've got to be there, and you've got to be passionate, you've got to work hard for it. To begin with, you're not going to get offered a full-time job straight away, and you're not going to get all the money under the sun. You're going to have to make sacrifices, you're going to have to volunteer. So there's a lot of hard work there, and if you're willing to put that hard work in, you will get rewards from it, whether it is financial through working and getting paid jobs, or it could just be helping someone on their way, on their path to becoming a player, or not just a player, but helping that person as well. One of the aspects that we, in my role, is we work in a high school. It's called the School of Football, and the motto is person first, player second. Now we're working with kids from all different backgrounds in that school, whether it's from a good footballing background or maybe from a health aspect or a mental aspect. We're trying to help these kids engage in school and get physically fit as well. But if you're in it for the right reasons and you're really passionate about it, I would recommend getting your badges early, getting known, looking to get into college, because the college courses that I did and a few others I've done as well, that I know you're engrossed in. It's like being at school, but you're doing something you like. You're doing coaching. You're learning from different aspects. You're looking at the fitness side of it. You're looking at the physiotherapy side of it as well. You're looking at all different sports as well. You're not just looking solely in football, and you're able to use these transferable skills, but you're networking straight away as well, because when you're on those college courses, a lot of the governing body will look for college students to do placements or to do some volunteer hours to help out with different sessions, and then you're able to build your network that way. But no, get involved with as much as you can do and as much as you're willing to give. I mean, when I began with, I was working with, as I said, 3-year-olds to 18-year-olds, a mixture right through, and I was able to build my kind of coaching philosophy and my coaching experience from that. But if someone is starting out tomorrow, what do you suggest doing? Go and find something, go and get involved straight away. Don't just be someone that stands. Get involved and work hard and just take risks as well. It's something they always say in these courses about taking risks and being brave. And sometimes you just need to do what you need to do to pass, but you also need to experiment. You need to believe in what you want to achieve as well, and just go for it. Just go for it.
Well, that's some good stuff there. We had a question come through here, Craig. So a little break in between here. So we've talked a little bit or a lot today about really licensing and the CPD side, so the knowledge side and the understanding the game. As a coach, going out to coach, what do you feel is one of the most important qualities, values, needs that you have as a coach?
Well, straight away when you need to be organised. You need to plan what you're going to work on. But you also got to look at the kids that you're working with as well, and the individual. yeah, I know for yourselves, Ant, as well, that you've guys that who need to make sure they're preparing their teams, but also looking at the individual as well. You're wanting to develop the individual. So how can you develop all the individuals you're working with in specific themes? So you've got to plan. You've got to make sure that all kids are being catered for. You've got to make sure that when you're doing your session, it's not just, right, we're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's us. Right, is A working? Do the kids get A? And then they're able to move on to B, and so on. So it's about gradually building the kind of blocks to your session and your players. And in terms of values as well, you've got to be open-minded. You can't just have, right, this is what I'm doing, the kind of blinkers on, right, this is the tunnel vision. You've got to be open-minded. You've got to think about, right, how does that kid respond? I mean, is it the old style instruction type coaching? Is there guiding discovery? Is it Q&A? You've got to kind of think about all the different kids you've got and how they respond and how they click. I mean, don't say I get it right all the time, but I like to think when I do my sessions that I'm able to speak to players and instruct players in different ways. Some might be telling them, right, just move over there, you're fine, make that forward run, brilliant. Others you might need to show them, and others you've got to ask them, what do you think? And they might come up with the answer. Sometimes the kids get the better answers than you, but in terms of, I'm trying to think the other aspect of the question, yeah, you've just got to think about the individual and the team as well. Does that individual fit within the team structure? If they don't, how do you get them fitting into the team structure? So there's so many things you need to think about, but ultimately you've got to make sure that, for me, kids are physically active, they're working away, but they're learning and they're having fun as well. They've got to have fun. There's no point doing something, even at adult level. I mean, yeah, you might think professional football players, they get paid a job, that's their job, but they've got to enjoy it. I mean, you look at maybe teams that are flying right now, especially in the Premier League or whatever. I bet you they enjoy it. I bet you they love every single minute. But there might be clubs in the lower leagues that are struggling and not doing too well, and there might be jobs on the line, especially if teams get relegated. I mean, do they enjoy it, or are they getting to a stage where, right, I need to kind of work harder here to make sure we don't get into that situation? So there's all sorts of different aspects of it, but you've got to have fun.
Well, I think there's a good, talking about people having fun and not having fun, whether it's players or coaches. I mean, in this lockdown, that can be bad for some people, and it could be great for other teams and clubs right now. That time away from maybe bad results, or those teams that are flying, all of a sudden they've come to a screeching halt. So even in the coach's mind, you're in your season and you approach yourself as seasonal. I'm sure that's for you guys as well. You got your planning sessions throughout there. So that's really important stuff. So that's good stuff. I'm going to touch a little bit upon what you said about individual needs. So if anybody was more interested about the coaching process, individual needs, different types of coaching styles, we've got the coaching process should be online. By the time this has been videoed and up online, that'll be up online as well. So you can always go to our website, and I've done a coaching process webinar that will be up there as well. So that'll give you a little bit more of an insight to individual needs of individual players, not just the team. You don't just go to coach the team, you're also coaching individuals and what that learner needs are, which I think is what you're meaning there, Craig.
No, definitely, and that's something that we have in place at our club. It's a very much player-centered approach. We give kind of our kids targets. We give them little PDPs, player development plans, and over the course of the season, the coach and that player there'll be usually two or three coaches per squad, and our squads aren't that big. We try and keep them quite small, usually to around about maybe 12 to 14 players, and that gives you the scope to bring up younger ones as well. We're quite fortunate that on our path we were able to push on younger players in the older age groups as well, and that can bolster your squad but give them more experience as well. But over the course of the year, we'll maybe give them targets at the start of the season. Right, you did well at this last year, but we look at the reports the coaches have put in place as well. We speak to the kids, what do they want to achieve? I mean, it can't just all come from the adult and the coach saying, you need to do this, you need to get better at this, you need to work on your left foot, you need to work on your control of the ball. Ask the kids, because it's the kids that play the game. The players play the game, so they'll think of something that they need to work on, if it's a tactical element, a physical element, a technical element, and we kind of try and both come together to achieve their plan and over the course of the season, we'll give them feedback after games. We'll set them targets. For example, I could give a young wide player the target of 1v1 attacking. How many times was he successful in, whether either a dribbling past a player or a quick pass to get it back again, still going at that same player? How many times was he good going forward? It could be a striker. How many shots did he get on goal? How many times did he link the play? All that type of stuff. And over the course, you give a little bit of feedback on their general game as well, but specifically to their needs. I mean, you can't just paint every kid and player with the same paintbrush. They've got to have their own specific targets and needs. And if you can meet them, and if they feel that they're achieving something, you think of the SMART targets. Is it specific? Are you measuring it? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? And what's the time frame on it as well? We're quite lucky with the kids that we try and think long term. We give every kid is here for a season, and then there's a review. We have a midpoint review as well, where we speak to the kid and the parents, and we let them know what we're thinking. But everything, they should know everything anyway, because it's on their feedback. We give them feedback every week, so there shouldn't be anything surprisingly there, and you go, oh, I didn't know I had to work on that. So everyone should be on the same page if a kid's doing well or if the kid's struggling as well. So we need to try, if the kid's struggling, how do we find ways of helping them progress? But also, if the kid's doing well, like, how do we challenge them? How do we make them even better? I mean, it's all kids, somebody's doing well and go, brilliant, you're doing well, keep going. But where's the next challenge? So you've got to constantly challenge the kids and progress.
Moving on to that, we've come to the end of our hour, and I know time is valuable, but I'm going to ask you, maybe, I know Scott's busy, Scott's going to come back on and do another webinar, but one thing I've traveled a lot of academies in England and, Scotland, here in the United States. I've been around and really made my eyes open up to make sure I know what modern techniques are and what people's philosophies are, club philosophies. One thing that Scott, and I think it's really, Scott is a driving force there that's done so well, is you guys do a really, really, really good job on that personal player feedback and development and putting plans in place. Not that I'm saying other clubs don't, I just hands-on, I see it there. I think if you could come on again in maybe 7 or 8 days' time, I'm thinking with what Partick Thistle does on their player development. So we've looked at the coaches' development. Maybe if you feel comfortable with it, or maybe Scott needs to do it, a player development pathway, what you guys do, and we can just worry about, we're not worried about the national level, but how to get to national level, but maybe just with Partick Thistle's PDP, LTPD, whatever you want to call it, the long-term player development, the player development pathway, that's what we call ours over here. And just that feedback and that individual needs basis, and really what you're doing between coach, the triad, the coach, the parent, the player, and maybe come on and discuss some of that. I think there's some good stuff there for coaches as well to take away. But rather than go into that too much, we're going to wrap up a little bit about what we've done on the CPDs and the coaching. Is there anything that we missed out that you feel would be of good quality to be able to let the coaches know here, or anybody that's listening, really, Craig?
Well, again, if anybody's getting any more quick wants to read this or watch this, they can also email me if you want to give them my email address, and they can ask about certain content.
Absolutely, we can give them their email address if you're comfortable.
These courses, I'm comfortable with that, because a lot of these the content on the courses is really, really good, and it's specific to what maybe a lot of coaches are probably working on. In terms of the B license and the children's license that I'm doing, it's this 11-a-side game and a 7-a-side game, so I'm getting the best of both worlds from that. But you're working on different teams, but you're thinking about the player again. When you're doing your B license, it's towards a youth and adult player. 2 seconds. Somebody just want a wee bit of attention. Sorry.
It's okay.
You're looking at the kind of a youth and an adult type player when you're working on specific areas of the game, but when you're doing the children's license, it's about the young kids, and how do you give them maybe the same information but in a different way? How do you interpret it? So it could be as easy as talking to an adult, like, you've got to hold it, you've got to be aggressive, whereas it could be a kid, like, how do you get on the ball? What do you do here? And it's more engagement, so they're still picking up. So it's good working those different aspects, but from that side of it, you've got to make sure that you're targeting you're giving the right information to the right player at the right time. Again, it's all good hearing all these experts on your kind of ESPN or Sky and ex-players saying, oh, he's got to do this, he's got to do that. and you're trying to tell a kid that those specific moves, and they might not understand. An adult might understand it, a teenager might understand it, but a young child, with I know that a lot of the teams you have as well, and the coaches you have, they might not understand what switch of play means. They might not understand that, right, get it wide and cross it. There's obviously building blocks there, and you've got to make sure those building blocks are in place first before you're able to go on to the next level, especially the technical side of the game. So you say, if you want to be able to do a switch of play with young kids, right? How do you get that switch of play? How do you start the building blocks? Where's the preparation? Where's the action? And where's the recovery afterwards?
Well, I think there's a good point there as well. I talked about it last night, was the player capabilities. I mean, if the player can't do it, then you're bypassing a few of the building blocks to even get that cross and finish in. The cross is more like a pass or something. So capabilities are important as well, and understanding what your players' capabilities can do. And of course, you're working with more top-end players than what some of the coaches out here would be working with. We work with range, but so do you. You work in schools, and you've got a lot of range there.
Yeah, no, definitely. As I said, I could go to my U15 session and do a session on a specific theme. I probably couldn't recreate that with another U15 at a lower level. I've got to maybe put more in building blocks because there maybe technical deficiencies there or tactical deficiencies there. How do you improve them? I couldn't exactly do the exact same session with my under 12s that I have. I mean, I've got to maybe not dumb it down, that's not the right word, but pitch it in a way and put the session in a specific format in a way that the kids love it and they're progressing and they're developing, and it's like the lower building blocks, and then when they get to U15 and when we do the U15 session, they're able to do it because they're technically good enough, they're tactically switched on, they're physically able to carry out those exercises as well, and those kind of game related tasks that we try and give them.
Well, fantastic, Craig. I know the dogs are dying for your attention there.
Yes,
so again, we've got no questions coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you. I'm hoping we get to see you in the summer if we can make that happen. Who knows how this COVID-19 is going to go, but I'd hope to think that things are a little bit more open. So we're hoping to have you stay with us again in July and August. So
I'd love
Craig,
that.
thank you so much. If you did have an interest in doing the PDP, the LTPD side of things, coming from the Partick Thistle or the Thistle Weir methodology, we'd love to have you back on, Craig, for sure. I think that gives the other side of the coaching education to now how you apply that and put it into practice, and what really is important for those kiddos for their development.
No, definitely, anytime. And I hope everyone's well out there, and I hope I do get to come out in the summer and see everyone again, and just take care and stay safe.
Yeah, and the same to you and Joe, and I've always spoken to Scott, so I've given him our well wishes from there. So just stay safe, guys, and I'll be over in October regardless if the flights are open, so I'll be popping up to see you, Joe, and Scotty then. So all right, hopefully I'll see you before I come see you.
All right, great.
All right, thanks, Craig. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Cheers, Ant.
All right, bye. Hey, man, we stopped the recording. We're all good now.
Was that okay? I know I can waffle a wee bit.
Go on.
Yeah, with obviously the lockdown at the moment, one of the things I've undertaken is more reading, which is something that I've never really done before. And I'm currently reading a book, Pep Confidential, based on his first year at Bayern Munich.
I just got that book. I just got it.
It's here. If you're able to get it in a paperback, brilliant. If you need to do it in PDF, but again, it's something to kind of engage your mind, because we're not on the field, we're not able to. It's great having these webinars that you're doing, and I've took part in a few myself with my course, and I'm doing some assignments as well. But reading that book, it's given me the inside of one of the greatest coaches in world football, and he's working with top players. And again, it's coming from an author, and he's not revealing all his secrets, but there's a lot of good content in there, and it's keeping my brain ticking over. And we're doing some stuff with our kids to try and keep them going as well, and we're watching matches, and we're trying to do match analysis and just different aspects of the game. So even though we're in this position, there's still a lot of things you can do and keep your mind ticking over. It's not all doom and gloom. There is good things out there, and you can keep yourself going.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've actually got that book. I'm reading that one as well. So
it's good.
Absolutely. I think it's always good to keep up with some of the reading. So thanks for that, Craig.
Oh, brilliant.